डेटा और अपना छोटा ही भाई सकता है। इसलिए भी मैं श्री दिवाकर सिंह यादव का बहुत बहुत इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे स्वागत करता हूँ तथा मैं भावेश भैया कहता हूँ कि आगे की कार्रवाई शुरू किया जाए। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Director, sir. Now over to Dipti ma'am to please formally introduce our resource person, Professor Divakar Singh Yadav, sir.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Mr. President, for all listening participants. I am Aditi Raman. Welcome to call the day 5 and session 2 of indicatively sponsored LP on data management. Today, we have Dr. Yes Yadav sir to deliver his expert knowledge in this session. He is professor in IIT Lucknow and done his PhD from University of Southampton, United Kingdom. Sir, expertise areas are formal method, distributed computing, database system, verification of transactional information system, rigorous design of distributed transactions. And sir, achievements are he was the Commonwealth Scholar in 2004, Commonwealth Scholarship Commission, London, United Kingdom. Sir has won Young Scientist Award in 2003 by Department of Science and Technology, Uttar Pradesh. And he has published many papers in international and national journals and authored many books. I'm again welcoming you, sir. Now over to you, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Professor Tripathi, thank you very much for inviting me to
this
this session.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Okay, thank you. So it's indeed
It is pleasure for me to be here with you today. I can see around 20 participants have joined, and I really apologize. I was not there in the inaugural session because of some issues down here. So I believe many faculty from various part of the state possibly they have joined.
and I'm
I'm
sure
sure
you
you
had
had discussion, you participated in various lectures on variety of topics related to data management.
Okay. So
What I'm going to discuss today is rightly mentioned Professor Tripathi and the madam
is
something which is related to the design and modeling of processes in the software development we use, and the focus is on certain algorithms and specifically. So in this case, today we have taken few case studies, and I'll outline one of the approach which is being used in the industry today. How do we model and how do we write the specifications
of
of
this
this critical system I'll outline what does it mean. So critical software system, large and complex software system, which are data centric, and how do we verify the various critical properties that must be satisfied by the software system should be addressed, should be proved.
So let
Let
me
me
just
just
share.
share.
Okay. Now, can you see the slide?
The first slide.
No, sir. It is not visual.
It's not visible. Why this is not visible? Let
Let
me
me
just
just
check
check
it.
it.
Just present. Just use the present now option, sir.
Okay, yes, hang on. Just a minute. Present and Just a minute. I'm sure now this is visible,
Yes, sir. Now you are present.
right? That's great. So
I'll be talking today on
rigorous design of
broadcast. Am I audible? My voice
Yes,
is
sir.
clear.
Is it coming
Yes,
to you?
sir. Clear, sir.
Okay, then. So I'll be talking about the rigorous
Rigorous
design
design
of
of
broadcast
broadcast
protocols
protocols
for
for
replicable
replicable
database.
database.
And
In this discussion, I'm going to use one of the techniques for
that can be
can be
used to
used to
design
design
the
the
reliable
reliable models
of the
of the
system,
system.
right?
Right?
So
So
here
here
the
the
focus
focus
is,
is,
if
if
you
you
note it
note it
down,
down,
rigorous
rigorous
design,
design,
broadcast
broadcast
protocols,
protocols,
and the
and the
replicable
replicability.
database. So before
Before
I
I
begin the
begin the
discussion,
discussion,
if you
if you
look
look
at
at
what is
what is
happening
happening
currently,
currently,
that is
that is
today,
today,
possibly
possibly
you
you
might
might
have
have
noticed in
noticed
the
in the
various
various
discussion
discussion
in
in
the
the
LVP earlier,
earlier.
there are
There are
two
two
issues.
issues.
There are
There are
two
two
lines
lines
in
in
this
this
computer
computer
science
science
or
or
information
information
technology
technology
that is
that is
going
going
on.
on.
One
One
thing
thing
is
is
where
where
the
the
pure
pure
computer
computer
scientists
scientists
and the
and the
mathematicians they
mathematicians they
work
work
in
in
one
one
area
area
wherein
wherein
they
they
focus
focus
on
on
the
the
design
design
and
and
development
development
of
of
dependable
dependable
and
and
reliable
reliable
tools,
tools,
technique,
technique,
product,
product,
services
services
for
for
information
information
representation,
representation,
how the
how the
information has
information
to
has
be
to be
represented,
represented,
how it
how it
has to
has
be
to be
processed,
processed,
how it
how it
has to
has
be
to be
communicated,
communicated,
and
and
what
what
are the
are the
various
various
storage
storage
techniques.
techniques.
So
So
this
this
line is
line is
actually
actually
focusing
focusing
on
on
development of
development
the
of the
algorithms and
algorithms
the
and the
protocols
protocols
and the
and the
solution,
solution,
wherein
wherein
these
these
solution
solutions
can
can
be
be
applied
applied
in
in
the
the
various
various
application
application
domains.
domains.
So
So
second
second
part
part
is
is
once
once
the
the
algorithms and
algorithms
the
and the
tools
tools
or
or
the
the
protocols
protocols
or the
or the
strategies or
strategies
the
or the
methodologies
methodologies
that have
that
been
have been
developed
developed
by the
by the
pure
pure
computer
computer
scientists,
scientists,
it
it
has to
has
be
to be
used in
used
the
in the
various
various
domain.
domains.
And
And
for
for
aware,
aware,
these
these
application
application
domains,
domains
this
just
have a
have a
great
great
range
range
from
from
development
development
of the
of the
business
business
systems
systems
and
and
the retail,
retail,
the
the
drug
drug
design, the
design,
medical
medical
science.
science.
This is
This
one
is
of
one
the
of the
upcoming
upcoming
area
area
which is
which is
coming
coming
in.
in.
Drug
Drug
design, you
design, you
might have
might have
seen
seen
how
how
quickly
quickly
the
the
vaccine
vaccine
for the
for the
COVID
COVID
have been
have been
discussed.
discussed.
So
So
various
various
strategies,
strategies,
various
various
softwares,
softwares,
various
various
modeling
modeling
that is
that is
being
being
used.
used.
It is
It is
being
being
used in
used
the
in the
health
health
sector,
sector,
the
the
transportation,
transportation,
the
the
environment,
environment,
and
and
socio-economic
socio-economic
development,
development,
and the
and the
range
range
is
is
very
very
high.
high.
So
So
the
the
focus
focus
here
here
is
is
wherever, whenever
whenever
we
we
develop
develop
any
any
algorithm
algorithm
or the
or the
protocol or
protocol or
methodology,
methodology,
it has to
has to
be
be
tested
tested
when
when
this
this
is
is
used
used
in
in
certain
certain
application
application
domain,
domain,
whether
whether
this
this
has
has
been
been
correctly
correctly
designed,
designed,
the
the
design is
design is
correct,
correct,
and
and
these
this
design
design
patterns,
patterns,
various
various
design
design
patterns that
patterns
are
that are
offering,
offering,
that
that
are
are
checked
checked
whether
whether
they
they
meet the
meet the
critical
critical
properties,
properties,
they
they
meet the
meet the
requirement
requirement
or
or
not.
not.
So
So
this is
this is
one
one
point of
point of
discussion.
discussion.
However, our
Our
discussion
discussion
is
is
actually
actually
focused
focused
on
on
the
the
first
first
part,
part,
right?
right?
And
And
we
we
have
have
taken
taken
very
very
few,
few
two
two
simple
simple
examples
examples
through
through
which
which
I'm
I'm
going to
going to
explain
explain
how
how
this
this
methodology
methodology
or the
or the
technique
technique
can be
can be
used
used
to
to
develop
develop
the
the
reliable
reliable
software
software
system,
system,
which is
which is
data
data
centric.
centric.
Now, quickly, I'll
I'll
give you
give
an
you an
overview of
overview of
when we
when we
talk
talk
about the
about the
reliability of
reliability
the
of the
software,
software,
what
what
actually
actually
this
this
means.
means.
You
You
have an
have an
idea
idea
of
of
actually in
actually
the
in
case of
case
the
of the
software
software
development,
development,
one of the
one of the
most
most
challenging
challenging
tasks
tasks
is
is
uh, to
to
assure
assure
the
the
reliability
reliability
and the
and the
dependability.
dependability.
And with the growing
Growing
complexity
complexity
of
of
the
the
size
size
and
and
the
the
volume of
volume of the
software,
software,
and
and
especially
especially
because
because
of
of
the
the
growth,
growth,
enormous
enormous
growth
growth
in
in
the
the
data
data
or
or
volume of
volume
the
to get
data,
data.
uh,
Um,
now
Now
the
the
challenge
challenge
is
is
to
to
have
have
a
a
good
good
design,
design,
good
good
design
design
for
for
the
the
application
application
domain
domain
or
or
application
application
which you
which
are
you are
trying to
trying to
develop
develop
or the
or the
system
system
which you are
you are
going to
going to
develop.
develop.
So
So
with
with
this,
this,
lot
lot
many
many
issues
issues
has to
has to
be
be
addressed
and that ranges from the fault tolerant.
The system
System
has
has
to
to
be
be
fault
fault
tolerant.
tolerant.
It
It
has
has
to
to
be
be
scalable.
scalable.
And
And of course,
what
what
about
about
the
the
performance?
performance?
Once
Develop
developed,
will
will
it
it
exhibit
exhibit the
the
performance
performance
which
which
is
is
for
for
which
which
it
it
was
was
intended
intended
for?
for?
And on
On
top
top
of
of
this,
this,
the
the
underlying
underlying
mechanisms,
mechanisms,
various
various
protocols
protocols
of the
of the
algorithm
algorithm
that
that
might
might
have
have
been
been
used,
used,
what
what
about the
about the
correctness, the
correctness,
confidence,
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 and that is what the correctness is.
correctness.
So
So
some
some
mechanism
mechanism
has
has
been
been
used,
used,
some
some
algorithm
algorithm
has
has
been
been
used
used
in
in a
a design
design
that
that
will
will
this
this
algorithm
algorithm
will work or the
to
function
function
correctly
correctly
with
with
respect to
respect
the
to the
constraint
constraint
or
or
not.
not.
And
And that is
that is the
the
core
core
of the
of the
design.
design.
So
So
apart
apart
from the
from the
reliability,
reliability,
the
the
rising
rising
cost of
cost
the
of the
software
software
development
development
is
is
also a
also a
serious
serious
concern,
concern,
and
and
that is
that is
why
why
we
we
have
have
seen
seen
various
various
agile
agile
development
development
approaches,
approaches
and they are
they have
being
been
used,
used,
right?
right?
So
So
the
the
reason
reason
is
is
most
most
of the
of the
you
you
knows
knows
from your
from your
experiences. So
experiences.
in
So
the
in the
past,
past,
how
how
the
the
softwares
softwares
were
were
developed
developed,
or the
or the
systems were
systems were
developed,
developed,
the
the
most of
most
the
of the
software
software
development
development
cost
cost
is
is
used to
used to
stand
stand
from
from
the
the
testing
testing
and the
and the
maintenance.
maintenance.
And you
And you
remember
remember
one of
one of
the
the
bottleneck
bottleneck
once
once
we
we
used to
used to
say
say
somewhere
somewhere
20
20
years
years
back,
back,
99% of
99%
the
of the
software or
software
the
or the
system
system
they
they
fails at
fails
the
at the
time
time
of
of
implementation.
implementation.
The
The
reason
reason
is
is
the
the
incorrect
incorrect
design,
design,
and
and
possibly
possibly
this is
this is
coming
coming
due
due
to
to
we
we
have
have
the
the
programmers or
programmers
the
or the
system
system
designer,
designer,
they
they
fail
fail
to
to
address
address
the
the
requirement,
requirement,
precisely the
precisely the
requirement
requirement
in the
in the
design.
design.
Right? So
So
much of
much
the
of the
problem
problem
this
this
arises
arises
when
when
the
the
requirement of
requirement
the
of the
system and
system
the
and the
development
development
are
are
not
not
properly
properly
captured.
captured.
Capturing the
Capturing the
requirement
requirement
is
is
actually,
actually,
so
so
this is
this
the
is the
very
very
first
first
place.
place.
If you
If you
remember
remember
the
the
typical
typical
software
software
development
development
life
life
cycle,
cycle,
capturing the
capturing the
requirement
requirement
correctly
correctly
and
and
precisely
precisely
is,
is,
is the
is the
key.
key.
Because
Because
if you
if you
fail
fail
to
to
capture
capture
even
even
the
the
smallest
smallest
part
part
of
of
the
the
requirement,
requirement,
possibly
possibly
that can
that
be
can be
flared
flared
up
up
and
and
can
can
lead
lead
the
the
whole
whole
system
system
uh,
uh,
to
to
a
a
failed
failed
state.
state.
So
So
once we are not able to
to
capture the
capture the
requirement
requirement
properly,
properly,
then
then
possibly
possibly
this
this
can
can
result in
result
the
in the
error
error
or the
or the
faulty
faulty
design
design
and the
and the
solution
solution
that
that
leads to
leads to
the
the
elevated
elevated
cost of
cost of
development
development
and
and
reduce
reduce
trustworthiness.
trustworthiness.
So
So
trustworthiness
trustworthiness
of the
of the
software, the
software
system
system
that is
that is
being
being
developed,
developed,
that
that
should be
should be
given
given
the
the
priority.
priority.
Let me
Let me
take an
take an
example.
example.
If you
If you
remember
remember
20
20
years
years
back
back
in
in
our
our
country,
country,
the
the
very
very
first
first
application
application
which
which
was
was
very
very
popular
popular
in the
in the
public
public
and which
and
was
which was
available
available
in the
in the
public
public
domain,
domain,
it
it
was
was
the
the
railway
railway
reservation
reservation
or the
or
ticket
ticket
reservation
reservation
or
or
something
something
like the
like the
routine
routine
reservation,
reservation,
right?
right?
Now,
Now,
it
it
was
was
possible
possible
somewhere
somewhere
20
20
years
years
back
back
when
when
these
these
systems
systems
were
were
deployed.
deployed,
It was
it was
possible
possible
to
to
book the
book the
train
train
ticket or
ticket,
the
the
flight
flight
ticket
ticket,
and
and
make
make
the
the
payment
payment
electronically.
electronically.
Now
Now
you
you
imagine
imagine
this is
this
a
is a
very
very
simple
simple
software.
software,
It's a very
very
simple
simple
system.
system,
Very
very
simple
simple
system in
system
the
in the
sense
sense
the
the
processes
processes
are
are
well
well
defined.
defined.
How do
How
you
do you
book the
book the
ticket?
ticket?
How do
How do
you
you
how
how
do
do
you
you
identify the
identify the
trains
trains
or the
or the
plane
plane
or
or
the
the
it
it
was
was
very
very
easy.
easy.
And if
And
you
if
have
you have
a
a
confirmed
confirmed
ticket,
ticket,
you
you
book
book
it
it
and
and
actually you
actually you
make the
make the
payment.
payment.
But
But
nowadays,
nowadays,
systems
systems
are
are
very
very
complex,
complex,
very,
very,
very
very
complex in
complex
the
in the
nature,
nature,
right?
right?
So
So
now we
now we
have
have
to
to
change
change
the
the
design
design
strategy so
strategy
that
so
we
that we
can
can
address
address
the
the
complexities
complexities
in the
in the
requirement.
requirement.
So
So
that is
that is
what we
what
are
we are
going to
going to
discuss
discuss
today.
today.
Verification of the
Of the
complex
complex
system.
system,
This
this
is
is
now
now
it
it
is
is
being
being
considered
considered
a very
a
serious
serious
issue,
issue,
and
and let me just try to explain what actually this means. The distributed algorithm, now the ubiquitous environment, programming, the distributed environment, the algorithms or the business of the safety critical systems are hard to understand very well.
And these
These algorithms
usually
is popular with the distributed algorithms which we use in the modern time in the IoT or data systems. These algorithms may be deceptive, and when they are implemented, they may have unanticipated behavior.
Now, that is
It's possibly the reason, one of the major reasons why the verification of the complex system before it is defined in the public domain systems. Formal modeling and the reasoning is required. That is one of the solutions. Formal modeling and the reasoning is required to ensure these algorithms achieve what they are supposed to do. And most of the algorithms, they attempt to provide a solution to a problem rather than formally specifying the system. So our focus nowadays is what problem we are going to take. Let us try to specify that problem, and once
first you
you specify the problem, and then you look at the solution. So for a specific problem, there can be n number of solutions. You can specify various solutions and can verify which solution, what solution be a good solution to a problem which is given. So one-to-one mapping, this is what is required. And how do we take it? I'll show you with an example. So nowadays the model transactional information is already. We live in a global world where the data is replicated, fragmented, everywhere. Right. So transactional information is the advantage of data distribution, data replication, and the application which is running on top of this, we say these are the these. So you can imagine if the finance is involved, the business transaction, or the financial transactions are involved, any design error can lead to catastrophe. So they have to be extremely careful about on the development of the business data system. So one of the solution is you do the formal modeling, you do the reasoning about the algorithm and the mechanism that is there beneath the system. So that serves as a foundation for the system. And formal modeling and reasoning about the algorithm and the mechanism beneath the system is required to understand the behavior of the system at the design level. So the whole idea is, if you look at, you remember the whole traditional software development life cycle, you capture the requirement, you obtain high-level design, you low-level design. And at that time itself, you check whether the requirement has been correctly captured, it has been properly specified, and the solutions. So in the design patterns, you also propose a solution. So solutions correctly address to the problem. And that is the area, that is the point where we will focus on. So there are design approaches, something you have to remember, the dependability. Usually we use the reliability and dependability interchangeably. However, there are difference that side of the dependability is refers to the ability of the system to provide service failures, and that are more frequent, severe, than the acceptable. We cannot have a system which is free from error. Ideally, not possible. There is an acceptability, how much service failure, how frequent, and what would be the acceptability, how severe they are. That has to be precisely captured, the requirement of the design phase itself. Dependability, typically this encompasses readiness of services, this is availability, right? So this is also availability of the resources. Now, typically you can think about the resources, continuity of the service, right? This is reliability, absence of catastrophic consequences on the user and the environment. This is what we say is safety requirement. Absence of improper alteration, this is referred to as integrity, and ability to undergo modification and repair. That is what is called the maintainability and scalability. Whether the system is maintainable, or the design patterns are maintainable, or scalable. And there is a necessity to draw. So how do we address it? The best way out is, let us try to understand, we can download or we can draw an abstract specification of the system that has to be 12, and then it is necessary to capture critical requirement and verify them at the design level itself. So abstraction and the refinement, this is the key
to the
approach which we are going to discuss today. So whole idea is whenever you have a concept and some algorithms, protocols, or some software system itself in your mind, you draw the abstract specification, and in refinement, using a refinement approach, you slowly refine your design in an incremental manner by adding details at every refinement step. So guys, you start with the primary abstract specification, and slowly in various stages, you try to develop the model of the whole system which you would like to have in the future, or which would you like to have. So these techniques are known as the formal technique. So the formal methods or techniques based on the formal method, they provide systematic approach for dependable software system, which is the demand of the time, and allow the mathematical underpinning of the critical property. So what we try to do is, remember the design pattern. So there used to be some design pattern. If you remember directional load, power designer, there are many industrial tools which will allow you to have a specification which you can visualize. But we are talking about the specification. These are the rigorous specification which will have some mathematical notation, and we are trying, that is our attempt is to write the specification mathematically, so that here is nothing like ambiguous. Permission.
So formal methods,
They are based on some mathematical underpinning or mathematical technique. They not only provide a solution to development of dependable software system, but they have been proved to be cost-effective solution. The reason is, once you draw this abstract specification, you decide who knows.
अच्छा अपने आ जाएगा ना हाँ
3 बजे से शुरू करेंगे क्विज।
अच्छा क्विज भी है ना
4:30 बजे गूगल में एक्टिवेट करेंगे, 4:35 को वेलकम कर देंगे, है ना। 4:35 को सरस्वती वंदना सर ने बोला तो उसमें करा देंगे। फिर वेलकम 4:35 38 40 में जैसे खत्म होगा फिर डायरेक्टर सर बोल लेंगे।
मैंने कंसल्ट जे विश्वास सर
ये श्रीवास्तव जी के लाएंगे, वो 4:45 को बोलेंगे।
आज आ रहे हैं ना
बात हुई 10 मिनट 5 मिनट 7 मिनट जो बोलेंगे उसका फिर हम बोल देंगे 5 मिनट 5 बजे खत्म हो जाएगा, है ना।
सर ये आया नहीं
हमने बना लिया है, डायरेक्टर सबको दिखा देंगे।
जी सर
आपको क्या करना
मेरे में नेटवर्क नहीं आ रहा कट कट गया
happy to discuss and answer your queries. So please do ask, please do come up. So in this event B technique, what we do is, there are three important facts, three important aspects. Even with this provide a complete framework, this is a technique. provide a complete framework for developing mathematical model of distributed algorithms, distributed system, and I would say the large and complex software system by number one, rigorous description of problem. So first we focus on the rigorous description of the model, write the specification of this, then gradually introducing the solution in the refinement step. So these solutions, they are not proposed at once, rather they are incrementally one after another they are added. So there are there can be number of steps. I don't know whether you're going to, I'd be happy if you visit my page, and lot many case studies we have done using this technique. One of the method, one of the technique when this was used, I remember, the Mondex electronic currency. I'm sure many of you might have heard about the Mondex electronic currency. This was an electronic currency somewhere. It was designed in the 90s, early 90s at the Oxford. And the NatWest Bank in the United Kingdom, UK, one of the very popular and large banks, they used the Mondex electronic currency in the year 96 after getting the European level 6. This was used to the highest security level at the 6. And what was the result? Just because of certain flaws in the design itself, the bank had to, when this was actually piloted, bank had to withdraw the Mondex document versus. There was some problem, some issue. So we are running this. It was done using various common techniques, and every data stage they could identify what were the issues. So this technique which helps you to precisely understand if something went wrong, what was the reason, what was the core issue. Because if it is small, build up a whole large and complex system, at the end of the day, it will be what was the fault, where was it. So idea is, let us start with the small problem, gradually introduce the solution in the refinement way. That is, gradually you come to the large solution, and every refinement step, you verify the correctness of the solution by discharge proof obligation. So you need not do it. Tool support. There are various tools mentioned here. Actually, the click and code, the P43, and in add to this, the most recently this is being used is the Rodin tool, RODIN. Rodin is an industrial level tool which not only allow you to do the model checking, but also to do the proving if certain property does exist. What are the reasons? You can reason about of the very popular model checker that can also use. You can write the D specification and pro B. You can search on the net. I do not have time, but maybe some other time I can demonstrate how the Rodin programs work. You can write the kind specification and you can find how when you model check, how does it work. This list how changing this state like this. The goal of the refinement are understand more and more of the system and to distribute complexity of the problem and to prove a behavior that is similar to the abstract one. So every refinement step you get the behavior of the system which is similar to the abstract specification or specification of the abstract model that you need. And this is a good idea. You can distribute on the various refinement steps. This ease down your work. Also, I'm going to
not the one case study, very simple case study. This is about the replicated database, and possibly you will understand. Remove the complex mathematical details. My objective is to try to see how statistics are being used.
So just
Try to perform
how this set will be used.
So let us look at the you are all aware, might have
knows the replicated
database. So typically, let us try to understand. I'm going to pause here. Objective system is a collection of autonomous computers partially separated. They share no memory, global clock, lack of global clock. These are the issues. So in this, we take up some of the issues related to the replicated database, and that is, if you remember, read one like all protocol, famous protocol for replica management, and related issues whose this protocol is. If you start a transaction, what about the atomic commitment of update transactions? One copy equivalence consistency criteria, one copy equivalence consistency criterion for the replica control mechanism, right? And how do you deal with the race condition among the conflicting transactions? So in a distributed environment, transaction starting at the one node of the site may span several sites, and it may so happen we do not control multiple transactions, they are being initiated at multiple sites, involving various sites. How do you control the race condition? This is also a very issue that has to be by majority of the majority of the replica protocols. And what about the messaging infrastructure? That means how the nodes of the site they talk to each other, how the messaging takes place. So I'm going to show one simple animation. Let us try to understand that this is P. This is a typical example of the ROPA protocol, read-one by call protocol. This is a system model, right? Here the red spot is shows various sites, right in the distributed order.
Now what issue is
Every site has a replica of an object. So that is one data object D, and that is replicated all of the same. Now, how the replica operation takes place? Let us try to understand. Suppose the initial value of the database is U. Now, imagine this is a cluster of databases on the scale of the database. Initial value is U. Now, what happens? One of the sites is one of the sites where a transaction is committed, and the intention of the transaction is to modify the data object value at various sites. Now, what happens if you look at the case? What happens? A transaction, this is TI, this is meant for modifying the data object, replicating the data object to the various site. This is submitted here. Then a shoe transaction, if it is just, we assume that there are two types of transactions for the simplicity. One is the pure read-only transaction, that is, they just read the value. And second type is the update transaction. Update transactions are those transactions which read the value and subsequently modify it.
Now, when transaction
is submitted at one of the sites, what actually happened? First of all, this broadcast or multicast update request to the participating site. When this request goes to the multiple site, what they do is, because of that global transaction that was submitted here somewhere, or the distributed transaction or the parent transaction, sub-transaction that begins as a consequence of delivery of these messages, and every site this starts a sub-transaction. Now, sub-transaction try to modify the data object which is available locally at the site. So first stage is
pre-commit.
So there can be three, either pre-commit or site can decide about it, right? So suppose one condition is, this is case one, where all sites pre-commit. That means the sub-transaction is successfully executed by all of the sites, and all of the sites are ready to commit the transaction. Commitment of the sub-transaction means once the data value is modified, it will become harmonic. Transaction is committed.
There
Can be a second case.
This
Case one, in the case one, if all of the site agrees, then what we do is change the value from U to V. V is the final value. That signifies a change in the value, right? From U to V. This is in a phased manner, this is changed, and subsequently this global decision, this is communicated by the coordinator to various sites. One of the cases, suppose any site,
for example, here
the second one here, suppose this decide it cannot execute, cannot go ahead and commit the transaction. There could be a number of reasons. Now, in this case, the coordinating site, there is no option. Now, this is one of the exceptions, because one of the sites says, I cannot commit the sub-transaction that was started as a continuous global transaction. In that case, it will say, no, I cannot commit, and this will vote out to send a message to the coordinating site, I'm going to work, I have to work all the time. Now, in that case, coordinator has no option. Even if I can see many commit messages from the coordinating site, but just because of one abort message, it has to declare the failure. So in that case, what happens? It sends out the global abort message, and all of the site decide to abort the sub-transaction. And once they do it, then naturally begin transaction, complex transaction, which was started on the site, that is the
So
if the distributed transaction, here the condition is very important, if the distributed transaction EI, which has been started earlier, right? If the support, if abort must be aborted all of the site. So in this case, if you remember, if the data has to be updated, it should be updated at all of the sites. And if the data, some of the sites says I cannot modify the data, then nothing. And this is actually the consequence of the atomic property of the system. Either all has to be updated or none has to be updated. Although there are many other versions of the overcode of the system. We took a very simplified version of the overcode. Now, what we do is,
how do we
analyze this situation? So this is what we know. Now the thing is, it is really very difficult to prove that the robot algorithm is deployed in some system, whether these properties, what are these two properties?
If a sub-transaction fails any of the sites, all of the sites are going to, all of the sub-transaction is going to be aborted at all of the sites. Similarly, if it is committed, then it has to be committed at all of the sites. So this is the critical condition.
Now, if we try to analyze or reason about this, we see there are events, how many events in the phased manner, that is required. So this is at the coordinating site, remember the start of the transaction, issue of the right transaction means update transaction, trying to update, right? And after that, it sends out an update request. All of the participating sites here, we talk about various sites, all of the sites will be acting or behaving in similar manner. Every site will receive the update request, it will start a sub-transaction, and then will decide, every site will decide independently whether it has to go for local abort or local commit, right? And whatever is the decision, it sends out by sending respectively both commit or both abort message. And based on that, the coordinating site takes the decision, whether it has to be globally aborted or committed. So how do we write the abstract model in V? I will not take you to the mathematics possibility. these are nothing but the first order predicate, right? So first order logic predicate. And in this case, we model the various entities using the signs, right? So this is an abstract model. We say this is just transaction. Transaction is represented by set. Sites are represented by set. Object is data object is represented by set. Value is whatever the data object, whatever the value is represented by set. And here these are all data set.
कहीं नाम नहीं था
अभी उसको करेक्ट करता हूँ ना अभी तो क्या अपना अपना निर्वाचन नहीं यार भाई मोड ऑफ थैंक्स का मतलब क्या होता है
Every transaction said will have either of the
कल शाम से कह रहे हैं सर देख लीजिए हमने कहा एक बार सुना दीजिए उन्होंने सुना दिया नाम था नहीं हमने कहा नहीं सब बहुत बढ़िया अब वो करेक्ट कर दीजिए हमने कहा नहीं करेक्ट
transaction which has started
करना पड़ेगा
expanded. So the credit
पूरा कॉलेज
transaction
सुनेगा
was
पूरा
सब
कॉलेज
वाले नहीं हैं सारे बाहर वाले भी तो हैं
once the transaction
आपने किसको ऐड करवाया है
हाँ सारे मेरे दोस्त को देखिए बार बार मैसेज कर रहे हैं भाई कब करना है क्या करना है
So here we write the definition, so we can use the logic tool or some other tool to write the definition. This is what we call it partial definition. Partial definition. An update transaction goes if you look at the profile, it will not try to modify all of the values of all of the sets. Rather, it will modify some of the values of them and all of the sides. If it is applicable. So we say every update transaction, we look at the partial determinant and what is this? Is some set of objects, and it will be modified by value, right? So update can be defined as a function. What it does, it changes one partial database into another partial database.
अगर आप ये
That is right to
बोलेंगे
understand.
तो छोड़ देंगे
This is how update function that can be modeled, right? Can be modeled. Now, in this update function, left hand side shows what is the status of the database. For example, the outer circle this contains all of the data objects. O1, O2, O3, O5, O6, and so on and so forth. They have initial value V1, right? And here you can see within this O, I, OJ, and
टू वेट्स
OP.
क्या है क्या टू वेट्स
right?
Data are modified by an update transaction. And here the value, initial value is VI, VJ, and VJ.
Now,
Whenever this update is executed, what we see is only those data objects
बैठे थे होते ना तो
which are
कहना आपने आ आई नहीं है मित्र
only values
values of only those data objects will be modified.
सुनो जो
Right?
तुम लोगों से
And
फिर
remain
किसने कहा था इसमें ऐड होने के लिए
So here you can see once the update is performed,
बेटा मैंने नहीं बोला
only
those data objects change the value of those data objects are in the scope of the application. And then
हाँ वो
we
तो
need
मैं मुझे लगा शायद
the abstract model.
औरों को बोलो कि
We will also
17 लोग
define the
हैं
transaction effect. Now, as I mentioned, there can be the update transaction, there can also be read transaction, read-only transaction. So read-only transaction
उज्जवल
does not file the value.
सबको बोलो
Just read. Just read and file. So here you can see possibly read-only transaction since they do not update
टाइम से नहीं जाएंगे
database. We say the range of the transaction is up, so nothing is going to modify.
So
How do we write? Similarly, update transaction right to at least one data object because it is an update transaction. So at least one data object has to be modified. And that is the reason why this is. So in that case, the range of the transaction will not be null set. And here,
नहीं सर लेकिन सर ये गलत कर
here is the range of right.
So how this is
Simple of the single copy database. So what we remember our objective was
whether this
what was just the one copy consistency criteria, right?
that is the thing.
We have proved that.
We
Right,
write
and this is often starting a transaction. So you can see these are written in the syntax when, then,
तो
and
अभी
this
तो
is
हमारा कहा
event.
क्या सही
What we
लगा
call
मैंने
it
तो सुना
event.
So
So this is event-based approach. So starting a transaction, we have the parameters of the transaction. And what happens?
a
The transaction which has not started, what happens?
transaction has
Started
started
फोन करिए
is
is
start, right? Transaction state is set to the pending, and then we define the update and the valid update.
शिवम हमको
Right?
आपको अब रिस्पॉन्ड
What
नहीं करना
update this is going
शिवम हमको
what
रिस्पॉन्ड
data
नहीं
object
करना
will be
किसी
the
चीज
range
में
that's going to be updated.
मतलब हंसी मजाक वाली बात में भी ना
So the transaction objects and the update values. Starting a transaction, if you see here, commit transaction. So commitment of the right transaction, this means commit update transaction. About right transaction.
मैडम मिनी प्रोजेक्ट शायद था
transaction.
So if it's committed,
उससे कहीं बच्चों को ऐड
you
करें
can see these conditions are
तो
met.
जब बच्चे
That is, transaction status is valid and the range of the fact is normal. Now in that case, you can see only the range is going to be modified in the database
लैब में है
and their database
अरे तो बच्चा
modification
लेके
takes
लैब में जाना
place.
होता है ना
I'm not going
to
to enter into the mathematical
yes,
सर
for this.
सुनिए एक और
Those who are aware of the cost or a logic
कहाँ
possibility
मिलेगी
understand.
जो अपडेट
This is domain restriction. This is
वहाँ लेने जाना पड़ेगा
writing operator.
कैसे चाहते हैं कंप्यूटर
Similarly,
तुमको एक महीने
in the
in the
case
case
of
of about nothing happens,
हम तो
transaction is about because it
दो
doesn't
दिन में हम सारे सिस्टम
that is the
property replicable. If an update transaction fails, either all are updated or none is updated. You see this above. Similarly, a read-only transaction, this is classification for read-only transaction. In that case, it just commit and it reads the value. So value is being written and it is being produced. Right? So read.
now with
This, if you look at this refinement, so these are the specifications we have written for the abstract model. Subsequently, we define that
periodic complex होता है
write this specification all of the event that take place at the very site, right? So we write this specification for all of them. For the simplicity we have
बताइए यहाँ बैठाने
and then using the tools we prove that every activation of event at the refinement stack is corresponds to the abstract specification. And when we use a tool, it generates lot many proof obligations.
पुराना
Proof obligation says
proof obligation
some acting complete at the refinement takes place, then it generates challenge before you.
मेरी जिनसे
You provide the information
जैसे हम अपने
sufficient
वाले
to
कहीं होगा तो अरे मैम आ
just
जाइए बहुत अच्छी
So
उनको वो कल्चर डील
if you have
फोन की
especially modern tools and the other modern tools,
क्या है अभी नहीं बढ़ा
they try to prove if they have sufficient hypothesis inside this, and if it is not the case, then
वापस
this
वहीं
is
जाना तो
challenge
थोड़ा
before
कुछ
you.
तो मेरा भी दो
You provide
चार लोग
information so
कहेंगे
that
कि फिर
this seems to be how can be proved. Whole exercise this gives you when you are able to discharge all of the proof obligation, right? Before that, you do the generation of the proof obligation, you come to know of various variants and that help you to reason about
that help you to reason about
why your system
design is
correct.
correct.
So not only you are able to prove that your system is correct, you are also able to
जल्दी पूछो
point with the inquiry. What are the reasons? What are the reasons? Because of this, the system is correct or your property level. So in this process, in order to
prove
that
that
we want like our protocol which we have discussed, right? Which is modifying the data, we are modeling using the
and this
and not only we are able to prove that this or one can but we also discover discovery of the event. We also discover the reason
लास्ट कल दिया हो गया
reason, and that's a very important
reason.
this
property is
आप तो आपसे मिलते
called
हैं
distance.
से मिल लेना क्योंकि बेटा
Right? So very important aspect is
आप
not
आया
only
मंडे को मंडे से
security
आपका
property
है ना
data,
ड्यूटी के बाद
we are also able to reason about why
with what
क्या नाम है आपका
your property
नाम क्या
is.
बेटा नाम
So
You discover
आ जाना
how
मंडे को
this
help you
that
that
is
is the design of the system
to
satisfy yes these are these things.
You might have
What is
noticed
it?
that
Majority customers now typically say once you propose an algorithm or protocol, you always say
you
you
also
also
provide
provide
proof of correctness. So proof of correctness is necessary. So say the reasons behind it, how what are the reasons, so that the certain properties are provable. And this means this generate the trust of the customers of the design that the design is safe. Design is safe. Okay. So I don't know how many I have. Quick, I'm going for another very simple example. How the how to process a transaction over the order broadcast. You remember there are not many mechanisms by which the various types we can get to each other.
कोई करेक्शन
ये उनका वाला है कि आप वाला है
One of them is,
उनका मिनट्स में निकाल करके भेज
you must be aware, reliable broadcast. So reliable broadcast has the validity, the agreement, the integrities. So reliable broadcast, they say the correct process. So it formal definition, make the cloud place can refer to a node or a site in the distributed environment. It can be so if a correct broadcast a message and we assume the reliable broadcast message is not lost, not lost, right? Eventually it will deliver site to which is. Similarly, there's one agreement. If all the correct processes here, we are omitting the failures, the binary disclosures, all failures. We assume the process is correct processes. All the processes delivers the same set of message. The process delivers a message and then all correct processes eventually deliver and that's connected. One of the properties is the integrity. What this is that is and said every happens and only if M was the broadcast for sender. That is, in this previous message means a good message, there has to be the known sender of that message and
एक्सेस पे आ गया ना वो
it will be delivered in the broadcast system with the multicast
आज का कि
only
करना
once. So reliable broadcast, this you knows it. Those who are into the this area might have discussed the blocking of the update transaction because this property this says that messages will be eventually delivered. So various transactions downloaded to multiple sites seeing the participant so happen because there is no counterparty on the messages. The message may be delivered in an arbitrary way, and therefore the various transaction can be blocked. And if some of the transaction is blocked, there is so often adblock detection mechanism, and you have to roll back some of the transaction or some of the documents. But if you can use the order delivery, you can impose on some sort of order delivery, then the blocking of the update transaction can be avoided. So what we are going to discuss is for the ROA protocol when the communication takes place, you can avoid unnecessary abort of the transaction just only because of they were based on the reliable broadcast. So there are several models for order broadcasts are possible, and these models this proposes various ordering guarantees. So you can avoid the blocking of an update transaction where a railway broadcast without ordering guarantees is used. The conflicting operations of the transaction originating from different site may arrive at the corresponding site in the different order, and therefore, due to the unordered delivery of the messages, they may cause blocking of update transaction, which results in unnecessary abort. Right? Unnecessary abort can be avoided if all site delivers all the messages in certain order. Let us directly look at the order. Imagine this P1, P2, and P3. Look at this one property. P1 is got FIFO order, first in, first out. What precisely this says, if a site, you can understand this P1, P2 as a process on the site or the node, whatever. Suppose a P1 process this broadcast two messages, two distinct messages, M1 and M2, right? So FIFO order, it says that the message must be delivered in the order they were sent out. That means if the sender of M1 and M2, this is same, this is P1, P1 is sender of M1 and M2, then all of the processes, including the sender one. So here you can see this is a self-delivery of the message. P1 is delivering itself, this M1 is being delivered to itself. All of the passages must deliver in the order M1 and then M2. M1 is before M2. So in this case, you can see all of the messages E2, 1, 2, 2, 1, and 3, 1. These are the events of delivery of the message. Now here you can see all the messages are being delivered. We say the reliable broadcast does not follow the FIFO order if any message, suppose this M message seems to have been delayed in the communication channel, right? And that is being delivered after the delivery of M2. This is what we say is the violation of the FIFO order. Similarly, there are many orders. We are running out of the time. There are many orders that have been proposed. If you look at literature, you can find out multi-cast communication, local order, the causal order. Causal order is one of the very interesting property, and the total order. All right, and you can have a reliable broadcast following both total order and the causal order, right? And you can have a broadcast which follows in total order but doesn't follow in causal order, right? So lot many algorithms, they have been proposed in the literature which ensures the reliable broadcast or the FIFO order or the local order or the causal order or the total order, so on and so forth, right? And other ordering guarantees. Now the thing is, here we have looked at the causal order broadcast. If you remember the causal order broadcast property, this says if a message precedes, say M1 precedes M2, then the delivery order at all of the site has to be M1 before M2, right? So this is causal because send event, they have caused the other event to occur, right? So that is the causal order. Now, in that case, we can write the specification. This is the abstract specification of the reliable broadcast. Now, you can notice how did we model it using a tool, routing tool, or you can use model checker like the Probe. You can write the specification for these. These are certain invariants. And we model only two of these, the process and the message. So they are actually modeled as a set, right? You have two variables. Initially, sender is in a set. Actually, this is also a set variable. Receive is also a set variable. Sender is null. C is null. That means no message has been sent out. So this defines the initial state. No message has been sent out. No message is received. And these are some of the invariant. What precisely this says? The sender, this is actually a token. this is mapping from, it's a maplet, mapping from message
चैट बॉक्स
to
में डालेंगे
process.
ना, फिर मिड में डालेंगे।
So for example, this message M1 is mapped to process P1. That means M1 has been received by P1. Similarly, the sender, similarly the receive. And these are the invariant, what this for all messages like P and M. If the P is mapped to this is a receive, that means you remember for the spurious message, we make it a guarantee only those messages are going to be received which has a valid sender. That means vagabond messages which are coming from somewhere and that will be received. No, that will not be. It has to have a valid sender. You know, very distributed competition. This is one of the mandatory requirements. Similarly, the PM, if it is received, that he is not a sender of it. So this is actually avoiding the self-delivery, if you want to avoid. Now we can model these just two events like send and receive, like there are only two parameters, PP and MM.
वही मैसेज
PP refers to the process, MM refers to the message, and this says if MM is not in domain of sender, right? So domain of sender, right? In that case, that message will be sent out. What does it mean? A message which has already been sent out cannot be resent. This property says a message which has already been sent out cannot be resent, avoiding resent, right? And similarly, when a message comes at one of the participating site, then it checks whether it has a valid sender, or since we are going to avoid that receipt of a message should be only once, at most once, only once it should be received. So it will check the condition whether this process has received that message or not. If it has not received, then only it will receive, right? And this is avoiding the self-delivery. Self-delivery, PP should not be equal to the sender of MM. So if these conditions are satisfied, then message is going to be received, right? So with this, you can write, so this is an abstract model. In the refinement step, we write the specification for the detailed design. Now, just to remind you, if you are aware of the vector clock, the vector clock system, logical clock system, various clock system has been proposed in order to resolve the causal, to have any causal order guarantee. So vector clock, if you remember, there are several algorithms. Once this is Fage and Matten, they discovered the vector clocks, and several mechanisms they have been proposed in the literature, and that precisely says if you use the vector clock in a specified manner, then the ordering guarantees can be imposed on a distributed system or in an environment. So what we did is here is we have running short of time, so I'm just showing you the abstract specification of the causal order. This is the refinement steps, and we wrote in the incremental approach, we strengthen the invariant, we write more specification to have a more detail. And after that, we look at how the buffering of the message that takes place, writing the specification. Then we verify whether we are actually plugging the logical clock system inside it. So every site is following certain pattern, updation of the clock. And I'm just leaving, if you remember, how do we apply the vector clock to the vector system. So vector clock is nothing but it's a vector of numbers, right? So every send and receive, or on occurrence of any event, the vector time is incremented, is modified. Subsequently, there are certain observations. Then we check here, writing all this specification, we write the specification using the vector time. We assign the vector time and vector time to the message, vector time to the processes, increment the processes. And here we wrote the specification for the vector time. And when you subject it to complete tool in the rodent, then it generates lots of proof obligation and asks you to provide the details. one after another you continue to provide, and finally all of the proof obligations are discharged, and you are left with the discovery. I mean, you discover lot many invariant in this process without the reason about why that clock system, if it is used in a specific manner, it can be used to solve the problem of the causal order broadcast. And this causal order broadcast, why this solution has came? Because if you remember in the replicated database, we want to avoid the blocking of the transaction. Therefore, we use the causal order broadcast. Use the causal order broadcast in order to satisfy whether the causal order broadcast properties, these properties are satisfied. Use the vector clock cadence, and therefore a long chain of the design of the system is ready. But at the end of the day, by writing this specification using for sort of logic, which is supported by various tools, and this technique is called event beam technique. So you are able to prove that yes, your complete design is agreeable. It has come up to a point wherein you have satisfied your proof that certain properties are met. So with this, I think time is over. Thank you very much for being with us. So we learned in this, not many things here. Processing transaction over the reliable broadcast. No ordering means blocking of transaction. Then you can use the causal broadcast. You can use other model of the broadcast, which imposes the different kind of ordering guarantees. The causal order broadcast, the local order broadcast, or the combination of them, and you can ensure that there is no blocking. You can prove that there is no blocking. So with this, how we conclude finally, we have outlined here the formal approach to modeling and analyzing distributed transaction mechanisms, specifically for the replicated database using event beam. Adequacy of event beam for modeling, and I do have a lot many, if you look at this on our website, we have done on the Byzantine and various aspects. Specifically, we are looking at the recovery protocols nowadays. We are trying to specify and see, trying to build a system. Various aspects of the recovery we are also taking. We are also taking care of some of the font tolerance, so Byzantine fonts we are considering, and how they can be. So in order to modeling or analyzing the protocol for distributed database or various aspects, even this technique is sufficient, is found to be adequate. And ultimately what you need is this rigorous reasoning of ordering properties, right? So this is all there. At the end of the day, what you learn is this is construction of gluing invariant by inspection of proof obligation. So this gives, as an engineer, as a computer engineer or computer scientist, it gives you confidence, or that the modeling guidelines, by providing the gluing invariant of proving the properties, this gives you satisfaction your design is meeting certain requirement, and that is true. So this is the one of the technique I discussed. I hope because of the paucity of time, I've gone a little faster. If you have any question, you can ask, or maybe I'll be very happy to have a discussion, further discussion in this area. So thank you, Dr. Bhavlesh, Dr. Tripathi ji.
Thank you, sir. It is a nice talk. It is a nice discussion. As we all know, you have done a lot in this area, and we are benefited with your discussion, your session. It is a nice to hear to you, sir. It is a very useful session for all our the faculty members joined in this session. Dear faculty member, if you have any query, any question, you can directly interact with our resource person, Professor D.S. Yadav sir, or you can write your query in chat box also. This is the end of our last session of this faculty development program. We completed all 14 sessions successfully. With you, this is the end of the session, end of this all technical talks of the data management. Now, our directors are also thoroughly interacted or connected in this session, and director sir, if you want, probably he is not in office.
Okay, no worries.
Thank you sir again for your session sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you sir. Thank you. Dear faculty members, attendance link is given in your chat box. All are requested to please fill this attendance using the link provided in your chat box, and it is also requested to join in our last session of this faculty development program, in which validity session, before start of session, validity session, we will conduct a quiz, which is a mandatory requirement for completing this FDP program, as well as for getting the certificate, e-certificates for this FDP program. Please fill the attendance as well as the feedback form, for which link is given in your chat box. Thank you all for joining this session, and for the next last session, session 15, the validity session, we will join at 3 o'clock after the lunch session, lunch break. Thank you again. Thank you all for joining us.